Hello, my friends. It is Wednesday, the 22nd of May, and it is time, you know the drill by now. It's Mullinger's Weekly Ramble, so strap in for a good old ramble. I'm going to try and do my weekly recap very quickly because I have an abundance, a plethora, a wide selection of a vast array of questions that range from the absolutely bizarre to the hilarious to the insightful to the frankly terrifying. So I'm going to try and get to those very quickly. But first, I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you had a wonderful long weekend. I hope you all celebrated Victoria Day in this glorious sun. Where did this weather come from? And I know I'm proving right now that I am officially a New Brunswicker, starting the podcast by talking about the bloody weather. But it has been phenomenal. I mean, I don't know, it could be something terrible with the global warming, but oh my goodness. This has been like, I don't remember days this nice normally in June, let alone in May. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I myself am quite sunburnt. I did not expect to get sunburned in New Brunswick in May. So if you are one of our lovely listeners from elsewhere in the country or world, move to New Brunswick, because here we have summer from May to September. There's some September days we can sunbathe. So basically our summers are getting longer and our winter actually got shorter. So basically New Brunswick is improving by the day, not just, you know, structurally and socially and tourismly. It is improving by the day weather-wise. So there you have it. Come to New Brunswick. There's a perfect. We've started with an ad. I just got back from Fredericton, where I had some very, very exciting meetings, and so yeah, let's kick in. So what have I been up to? Well, I've been out enjoying the weather somewhat on the streets of Rothesay and St. John with my son River, who has been doing the jump rope for heart collecting. Incredible initiative by the geniuses at the Heart and Stroke Foundation of New Brunswick, whereby basically children go door to door collecting money for this incredibly vital. I think all of us tragically know someone that we have loved and lost because of this, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation of New Brunswick do God's work, saving lives, support, research, all of those things. So, yeah, River was actually and had the unique honour of being actually on this year's collection envelope. He raised over $1,000 last year, so was honoured by being printed on the envelope. We had so many lovely messages from people in the community saying that their children had seen this and were inspired by it, which was so beautiful. My mum, who lost her mum tragically young to a heart attack, was just so moved by this, and River actually beat his record again. So may I just say to anyone listening who answered the door to my little boy when he was collecting money for the Heart and Stroke Foundation of New Brunswick this past week, thank you for being so sweet to him and so kind. He came home. So the reason he went out for hours and hours every single night is because people were so nice to him and made him feel special. Some people would answer the door and say they remembered him from last year. And people would answer the door and they'd say, it's River. And then, so he was just touched. And he just seeing my son come home after 3 hours of fundraising, knocking on doors, which is something that, I mean, I don't know if I'd have the confidence to do that now, let alone when I was 10 years old, is testament to the fact that people in the community are so nice to the kids when they knock on the door. So, thank you all for that. What else did I do since I saw you last? Straight after last week's podcast, I actually went to see my good friend Stephen Tobias at the St. John Theatre Company, and he gave me a tour of the old courthouse, which is very soon obviously going to be converted into the beautiful new St. John Theatre Company Performing Arts Centre, rehearsal space, cafe, bar, just a gorgeous plan. If you haven't seen the pictures of the St. John Theatre Company, please check them out. This will hopefully be happening very, 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 very soon. But it was nice to go into the old courthouse. I remember on a visit here when the old courthouse shut down. Of course, how lucky that we all get to know that in the future when someone says, where is the St. John Theatre Company? It's where the courthouse used to. You can fill in the rest. You know the drill. So it was lovely to see Stephen. We're working on I'm going to do some shows at the St. John Theatre Company's current space, the BMO. I think I can tell you this. Later this year, 3 nights of shows, completely unplanned, unscripted, walking out on stage, kind of like the warm-up shows I do, but obviously with my warm-up shows, I'm turning up with a plan. These shows, it's going to be completely unscripted, unplanned. You, the audience, will shout out or write down subjects, and I have to improvise the entire 90-minute show on the spot, 3 nights in a row, all different materials. So that's 4.5 hours of material made up on the spot. Anything obviously can go wrong, and I guess the thing that could go wrong is I could ruin your nights by not being very good. But I would like, well, and if that happens, I guess I will say right now I will refund everybody. But I feel like, this is how you stay sharp as a comedian, 20 years in the business. I want that challenge. And I know some people particularly like these experimental shows. So yeah, I just thought, put my neck on the line, try and be funny for 90 minutes without any prepared material. And it's just kind of one of those things that is self-satisfying, and it makes you feel, I guess, like a real comedian, because we all suffer from imposter syndrome sometimes. I went straight from that meeting to meet with lovely Peter from the Symphony New Brunswick. I think I'm allowed to tell you this now, that I'm doing 3 shows with Symphony New Brunswick this fall at the in the Riverview Arts Centre and the Fredericton Playhouse and the St. John's Imperial Theatre. It is the Funny Bone edition of Symphony New Brunswick's annual shows, and they will be performing their beautiful orchestral, what I say? Well, they call it the chart toppers. It's basically the most well-known classical pieces, and it will be interspersed with comedy, stories, and other surprises. So I'm continuing my tradition of sharing stages with orchestras. So that was very exciting. Then that night, River went out fundraising. The following day, actually, last Thursday, Tyler Warren Ellis and I went out to spend the day filming commercials for, and I don't think I was able to talk about this before, but now I can. I have been hired to do commercials, ads, social posts, essentially be in some way the face of the dairy farmers of New Brunswick. They have a new campaign, which is, I believe I'm allowed to talk about this. I think I can. Well, it's just pairing delicious things with delicious things. Like, for example, who knew that a donair goes splendidly with chocolate milk? Well, see me experience this for the very first time in these series of ads that we've filmed. We started off at the beautiful Union Club in Uptown St. John. Again, it was a surprisingly and criminally beautiful day, completely unexpected. Union Club has actually recently been renovated. They've got all this kind of new, amazing spaces, still maintaining the heritage of the building. Absolutely gorgeous in there. Stunning new room up top. Anyway, keep your eyes peeled. Dairy farmers in New Brunswick. I'm a big dairy fan myself. I'm a huge fan of farmers, and I love New Brunswick. So it was really the dream gig. Tyler and I had so much fun. Absolute carnage out there. Started off there, ended off in a drive-through with sampling French fries and ice cream. I don't want to spoil the surprises. Also did some filming at my favourite place, Garden Grove Cafe, before ending our night. Tom and I went to celebrate at the end of the night by having a bit of fun at the old Valley Sands, which I absolutely love. I mean, Valley Sands was renovated. Valley Sands is the sports bar and I guess pub, sports bar in Quispamsis. Been there for many, many years. Absolutely stunning. I hadn't been in there for a long time until I went there a few weeks ago with Ethan Ash, and it was beautiful. It looked like it's just been renovated. It looks like a 5-star hotel in there. And I said, wow, when was this? You just had this renovated. They said, no, 2019. Just before COVID. Now I get, obviously COVID, things were quiet, but my goodness, in England, if you renovate a bar, especially a sports bar that opens at 10 a.m. and closes at 2 a.m. every single day, within a week in England, it would be ruined. There'd be, fists through the wall, and there'd be blood on the floor. There'd be bodily fluids everywhere. I mean, it's just English people behave disgracefully in pubs and restaurants. In here in Canada, you're very refined, and I respect that. So we had a lot of fun doing that. Next morning, I attempted a spin class at Social Cycle in Quispamsis, also in Quispamsis, with a broken rib. don't recommend it. But I will say, commitment to the cause. My friend Nat Hatt is an amazing spin instructor and just an inspiring woman all around, both as a spin instructor, but also just as a human being, an inspiring and brilliant and beautiful and fun person. And so it was her birthday spin class. So I wasn't going to miss celebrating. And I thought, you know what, give it a go. And I gave it a go. And it wasn't. I mean, it was obviously lots of things I couldn't do, the dips and but I was able to pedal for the hour. So there you go. That's how good Nat Hat spin classes are, that I went with a broken rib to a spin class. Ridiculous. But what happened? What else? The weekend, Saturday was a big day. If you are a boxing fan, it was, of course, the absolutely it was the first undisputed heavyweight fight in 24 years. I mean, just like a moment in history. So I was so excited to see Oleksandr Usyk scrap with Britain's Tyson Fury in Saudi Arabia. Again, it's obviously ridiculously expensive, these pay-per-view things, but it was a moment in history. It had to be watched live. Usyk, of course, beat Fury to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion in 24 years. And it was an incredible fight. It was, Tyson Fury's very first ever loss. So Oleksandr Usyk became the first undisputed by beating him. The Usyk story is incredible. That this guy was, in 2012 at the Olympic Games in London, he was a gold medalist. He's basically won everything. Usyk is essentially completed boxing. He is the best heavyweight boxer. And again, but in his private life has gone through, again, someone else he fought was Anthony Joshua, another British fighter who I actually met when I used to work at British GQ, who was a big friend of the magazine. Lovely, lovely guy, Joshua. But of course, Usyk beat Joshua and they were going to have a rematch. But then with the tragic Russian invasion of the Ukraine in February 2022, Usyk confirmed that he had returned to the Ukraine to fight. I mean, he took up arms and joined a territorial defense battalion, I believe, in the Ukraine, and basically said something along the lines of, I don't know when I'm going to be stepping back into the ring because my country are more important to me than a championship belt. So this father of three, this loyal husband, this incredible man, it was the king of boxing, is the king of boxing still, but put it aside to go and fight for his country in a war. And obviously some of the things that Tyson Fury said before the fight and after the fight were both incorrect and disrespectful, but then I guess that is part of the game. The trash talking is all part of building the hype. And Fury lost and walked away with $100 million or pounds, and Usyk made a third of that despite winning. But of course, hopefully next time, if they do the rematch that Fury is saying he wants, well, but it's just an incredible story. Look up Oleksandr Usyk. It's just, again, a moment in history. First undisputed heavyweight boxing champion in 24 years. That's Saturday night. So it's just so exciting to watch that. On Sunday, had a lovely couple come to the house with their kids who reached out on social media. I won't say their names. I don't know if they would. This might be private, but essentially they had come across our videos and our posts and our things online talking about how much we love St. John, love living in New Brunswick. They were a British family who moved to Ontario a couple of years ago and saw our things online and reached out and said, wow, St. John looks amazing. Is it as great as your videos and your posts and your stories and your magazine articles say? And I said yes. And can we have and let's have a chat? So we jumped on a Zoom a few months back and had a wonderful chat with the gentleman, with the father, and they came here for the weekend. I hooked them up with my dear friend Stephanie Armstrong, and who showed them around. Showed them houses. She and Jeff, wowed them with the beautiful properties in the neighborhood. And so I said, look, come to the house. Let me talk you through what it's like here. And again, they came in, they couldn't believe, wow, the space, the people, the beauty, the comparative. I know the property prices have gone up and shockingly so, but still comparatively to England, it is still very reasonable here in New Brunswick, especially given to have the quality of life that one might have here in New Brunswick. In England, you would need to be a multi-billionaire. So they came to the house and we showed them around, and so that was wonderful. Then I had a great day playing soccer in the garden, trampolining with doing panini stickers. Then that night, probably shouldn't admit this, we let River begged to watch the movie Ted. So we said, well, it's highly inappropriate. You can't tell anyone that we let you watch it, but no, I'm telling you. I had forgotten how incredibly inappropriate it was. I remember watching Ted when it came out with my in-laws in England when we were living in England. And it was mortifying because it is so filthy, but also very funny and very sweet. We've also been watching lots of Stranger Things, season 3. Love that season. I mean, as you know, I'm a child of the 80s. I'm obsessed with VHS. I'm obsessed with all the things that those kids are into. I'm into. So seeing the cinema and the mall and them going to the Back to the Future. Although, what's really interesting, when you see things like the malls in movies set in the 80s that have been recreated now for movies filmed now about the 80s, were malls really all that shiny and glitzy and glamorous? Because I mean, I remember the 80s very down. Granted, I was growing up in a tiny suburban town west of London in England. So North Americans, was it really at all glitzy? Were malls really all as glitz and glamour as they seem in things like Stranger Things? Is that what it was like? I don't know. My brother's birthday was on when was his 20th? So Monday on Victoria Day. It was my brother's birthday. He turned 44. My lovely little baby brother, who lives in BC. I believe he was in Edmonton to watch the hockey game. Was it Edmonton versus Oilers versus the Canucks, I believe? Celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Nick. My brother, many of you may or may not know, also married a Canadian by coincidence. I say coincidence, always bloody copies me. Always, just, I got a Canadian, he had to get one. Him and his beautiful wife have an amazing life in the Okanagan Valley in BC. Also, I guess, family celebrations. It's my parents' 50th wedding anniversary this week. That's right, 50 years married. 50 years. You don't get, what would you have to do to get 50 years in the slammer? Who knows? But they don't think that marriage is not a prison, though. That's not what I'm saying. Anyway, tragic that we can't be there, but we bought them a gift certificate for a place called the Newt in Somerset, where they live. Which, you may remember a feature I wrote about the Newt in Edit magazine a couple of years back. Absolutely, it's this a South African gentleman bought this property in Somerset near Castle Carey and turned it into this incredible garden and restaurant and farm and cottage and spa, not cottage, a hotel and spa. When we stayed there a few years ago, and it's because of Google the Newt in Somerset, absolutely gorgeous place. And it's like minutes from my parents' house. We bought them a nice gift certificate so they can go there and celebrate in style. And I believe they're going away to a place that we used to go on family vacations all the time with them when Hunter was a baby, called the Lizard in Cornwall. 50 years. Had a driveway paved today. And shout out to David McDonald, absolute gentleman, who took charge of this and did a phenomenal job. So if you are looking to get paving done, get in touch with me, because I will pass on David McDonald's things. He is married to my dear old friend Terry. Old friend meaning we are old friends as opposed to either of us being old. Terry, for many years, I did so much work with Discover St. John when she was with Holiday Inn. Terry is an absolute hero and a legend, and her husband David, who we just met for the first time these past couple of weeks about paving the driveway. Beautiful people, gorgeous couple, and frankly, I've never come across such a sweet couple. It's really I love meeting any person who talks about their partner so lovingly, and hearing David speak about Terry, and Terry and I have done so many trips and jobs together over the years. And I was a huge fan of hers already. Hearing her husband talk about her just was the most beautiful romantic thing. Okay, we've got to get to the questions because there's so many of them, and I'm sorry now. 20 minutes has already gone by. So here we go. I got shows coming up this weekend. Friday night, I'm in Moncton at the Moncton Coliseum. Big fundraiser for Moncton Head Start. Incredibly important charity. Please look up Moncton Head Start. And Saturday night, I'm in Miramichi, playing the James M. Hill High School Theatre. If you have any friends in Miramichi, please tell them to come and see me this Saturday night. I think I've covered everything. This goes to questions. Janice McAdam. Janice, God bless her. Thank you for this. She's asked, hello, James, are you a thrill seeker? i.e. bungee jumping from a bridge or zip lining or scarier yet, a ride at Disney or the exhibition, the zipper, etc. You get my drift? I'm guessing you are. Maybe I'm wrong. Janice, no, I am not a thrill seeker at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like thrills, if you know what I mean. I like thrills. I like thrills in the bedroom. No, here's the thing. I'm not a daredevil. I'm a wimp. My kids always joke that I'm a panicker, which I think I inherited from my mum. I don't mind some rides at these theme parks things, but I'm terrified of heights. I can't climb a ladder. I'm completely useless around the house. Therefore, if you come in, my wife does all of the kind of, the heavy lifting, the jobs that traditionally in a more less enlightened time, more misogynistic time, more sexist time, would have been called a man's job. Basically anything that involves skill, intelligence, muscle, she does. I am more kind of like I can bake lovely fairy cakes when the kids need fairy cakes for school. I'm very good at ironing silk dresses without burning them. Those are my skills. So anyway, to answer your question, no. I've done terrifying rides. I just shut my eyes though. I don't look at all. When I was at Disney, I think it's Disney or Disney World or Universal, one of the two, I was there with my friend John and his wife Claire and their kids. And John said to me in front of my kids, do you want to go on the Hulk ride? And because he asked them in front of them, I had to obviously say yes, because I didn't want to look like a wimp. So I had to go on this horrendously terrifying Hulk ride that goes up and down, inside out, blah, 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 blah. I had just shut my eyes for the whole thing. At one point, I opened my eyes for a split second and I was basically hurtling towards the ground at a billion miles an hour. How and why? I don't know how there's not more accidents on these things. How does someone build a thing? What is the insurance like on that? When you know how hard it is to get insurance, how hard it is to get insurance for an event. Imagine it was just people sitting in chairs laughing at things or coming in to buy Christmas goodies. How on earth do you get insurance for? Yeah, we're going to build this tube device that we're going to sit children as young as 5 in, and it's going to go flying through the air a million miles an hour, go up and down, upside down, loops, hurtle towards the ground. We're going to screw it together. I mean, how on earth? I don't understand how, and who goes into that business? Just the fear alone. But I guess these people know what they're doing, because you never really hear about Disney ride. Anyway, I would love one day to, in theory, do a bungee jump or jump up a plane, but no, I'm not a thrill seeker at all. There's a video of me absolutely petrified in the swinging chairs at Magic Mountain I did when I did some ads for New Brunswick Tourism a few years ago. So yes, I guess my thrill seeking is getting on stage and doing stand up, because that to me, the concept of, I'm not a confident person off stage. I'm shy. I'm socially quite awkward. So getting on stage is the thrill thing for me. That's where I get my buzz from. And obviously Sauvignon Blanc. Curtis Phillips, you wonderful man. I hope you're well. Thank you. Oh, you're very kind. I can't read compliments out, because then it just sounds like an ego boost, and no one wants to tune into a podcast where the host just reads out compliments about themselves. No offense, every single big name American egomaniac comedian that has a best selling or best listening or chart topping, that's the one I'm looking for, podcast. What is with that? The Tom Seguras and the Burt Kreischer's, and even Bill Burr to an extent, reading out the I'll say, Curtis Phillips has said I'm the GOAT, which is a very lovely compliment. Obviously, I don't think I am, and I'm only giving that as an example. But the likes of these people, and don't get me wrong, I love Bill Burr, but he will sit and read out the compliments. I'm not going to do that. So thank you for the compliment, Curtis. I'm not reading it out, even though I did actually just find a way to actually read it out, which makes that something of a humble brag. Okay. You've shown me pathways to things I want to one day partake in and experience. I might just mirror you and become the new Brunswick who takes over Britain. Bloody brilliant idea, mate. I mean, the one thing I always say to people is coming here was the best career move I ever made. I didn't realize it was. I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought I was going to have to give up stuff. But coming to a place where you are the outsider doing something that people don't expect. I agree, Curtis. That is the key to lots of comedians across Canada who've kind of seen what I've done here and stuff will say, oh, should we, we're going to move to New Brunswick because, and I don't think it's as simple as that. But I think you, Curtis, move to England, take over. As he says, I have to learn to spell it first. Well, I love and appreciate you, Curtis, and you've inspired me too, my friend. And say hi to your lovely daughter Claire, who, as you know, I'm a huge fan of, and I've obviously been on stage with her as she's an amazing, amazing musician. Michael Lynch has said, Whippets are the best dog on the planet. Please discuss, and what is your opinion on the best breed of dog? Yes, I'm from Yorkshire, and yes, I have a Whippet. Well, God bless you, Michael. Whippets are beautiful. I can't wait to perform at the Thirsty Whippet, next month. Next month? Yes, next month. The first ever new British pub in New Brunswick. The best breed of dog is undoubtedly my own breed of dog, my best friend in the world, Willow the Billow. Willow is a mini doodle. She's half, I believe, mini doodle and half mini poodle. And basically, essentially, it's like a dog that has been scientifically created to just be the cutest thing imaginable, non-hypoallergenic. I'm not a veterinarian, so I don't know all the lingo, but basically she doesn't shed hair, doesn't cause allergies, is an absolute angel, just loves you. Basically, mini doodles are just basically, and they're basically like teddy bears. They're like stuffies. I was standing in the lineup at H&M in St. John, well, where H&M used to be, holding Willow because she kind of looks like a stuffy, and I love stuffies, as many of you know. I collect Care Bears. My house is full of stuffed animals when I was a child with my best friend, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but it's a ramble, and if you've come this far, you are my friend, and I appreciate you. I cuddle teddy bears when I go to bed sometimes when I feel sad. There we go. And I still do that. Did it as a child, still do it now. Still have some of my childhood teddy bears. How did I get onto this? Yes, Willow is like a stuffy. So I was standing in line at H&M holding Willow, and she suddenly turned her head, and the woman behind me jumped out of her skin because she thought that I was holding a stuffy that I'd just bought from like Toys R Us. And then the stuffy suddenly moved and came to life, a bit like Ted in the movie Ted. That's a brilliant scene in that show where Ted comes to life at the beginning and the dad freaks out and swears, and oh my god. So best dog in the world is a mini doodle. I got my dog from what's it called? Love Bug Doodles. So anyone listening that wants to see the cutest dogs ever, go to Love Bug Doodles on Facebook or Instagram or Google them. They're based just outside Moncton. Beautiful people. They create beautiful dogs. And I believe when we were making the selection, we were kind of 10th in line to choose. And we got Willow, who is the best dog in the world. And she was 10th. So imagine how good the other 9 are. She wasn't as good as, apparently, according to everyone else, not as good as 9 other dogs. Don't whisper, because I don't want Willow to hear. So that's, that's my answer. Whippet's also awesome. And thank you very much for that beautiful question, Michael. Richard Dunn, you're a wonderful man. And it's lovely to see your name, see your face, and hear from you. Your question is, what is your position on air fryers? Our family would not function without one. Excellent question. We do not have an air fryer. We got one briefly. It was too small for all the food size portions that we need to cook. And I believe we got rid of it, gave it away, returned it, re-gifted it, something like that. So if you're listening and you got an air fryer from us for Christmas or something, it was used. So interesting. Yeah, I mean, we barbecue, we use the oven. We cook every day. We work from home. So we are literally cooking 3 meals a day. Really never order takeaway, and occasionally sushi from Sushi Blossom, or actually from also, I love the sushi also from Pink Sushi in what's the mall? Not Market Square. Why do I always forget the name? What's the name of the mall in St. John that's empty apart from Pink Sushi and Loblaws? and the Delta. I've forgotten the name of it. Brunswick Square. That's it, Brunswick Square. The sushi place still standing. Amazing sushi, amazing value. Looks like an empty mall with, how did that happen? Mitch Nash, thank you, Richard, for that. Mitch Nash, if there was a red button that when pressed would make every human being on Earth disappear, think the Thanos snap, would you press it? Why or why not? No, would be my first thought. Oh my God, how terrifying would that be? Imagine if you got given a device and you were told that's the button, and you press it and every human being on Earth disappears. How scared would you be? Like, where would you put it? You know, like when you buy, like I have a stapler gun that I've used in the past for putting up posters, right? But of course, I'm terrified of this thing because I'm like, oh my God, if a child got hold of this and pressed the button, it's like a gun. It's like a gun. So where do you hide it? Wherever I hide it, I then think of a scenario how the child is going to climb up and get it. Imagine if you owned the red button that when pressed every human being on Earth disappeared. Like you would lock it in the wall, you would cover up the wall, and then you'd think, well, what if a rat jumps on it? And then everyone. So I wouldn't press it based on the fact that, I mean, if I could have a red button where I could make a couple of certain people disappear, Donald Trump, I mean, yes, of course I would press it. Vladimir Putin, I better not say it. I'm actually too scared to say it. That's how far the Putin reach is. I'll say what you like about Donald Trump. I would not dare slag off Vladimir Putin on a podcast because I'd feel like his bots would intercept it and then he would press his little red button and he's got one that would make me disappear or make a plane crash and make me disappear. So no, I wouldn't press it because I like a lot of human beings on Earth. I don't agree with murder, but if I had a red button that I could make some people disappear, that's a slippery slope, isn't it? Imagine if you had a button and you could just think of a person and press the button, they would disappear. And you'd start off doing the old, okay, get rid of Trump. There we go, that's good. But then someone more evil would come and you want to go to get rid of him. Then, you might get rid of the guy whose name I won't mention, but VP in Russia. You do that. And then suddenly it's like, okay, you start just finishing people off, and then suddenly you're a mass murderer, and then suddenly that guy that pulled out in front of me on the Rosse Road too sharply and almost crashed into me, I'll do him, right? And then it starts being everyone, and then by the end you have made everyone disappear, and then it's only you left, and you are depressed because you're the only one left, nothing to do, so then you press it and you make yourself disappear. That's a movie plot. So I guess you could cut out the middleman if you did get given this and just make everyone disappear, because you're going to end up finishing everyone off anyway, because everyone's going to piss you off somehow, right? You're always going to be like, are you sure you need that extra cookie? Make her disappear, right? So yeah, that's a slippery slope. But good question, Mitch. Thank you. That got me thinking, and got me thinking that basically I have the potential to be a serial killer, which is not a good place to be. Very quickly in brackets, this is really disturbing, but has anyone read, the state of the UK, and I've talked about the state of the UK before, but holy shit, there are two things that are going on in Britain right now that you should look up. One is, and this is not funny, it's utterly tragic, that basically 10,000 people were infected with HIV blood over the period of 20 years it's the biggest NHS, and NHS is our free health service in the UK. That's what's yours called in Canada? Medicare? Well, whatever. Canadian health, NHS, the National Health Service in England, for over 20 years were infecting people who were going in for blood transfusions or people that needed blood for whatever reason with HIV-infected blood, which means that 10,000 people or something have been infected and over 3,000 have died. So that including hundreds and hundreds of children. So that basically means that the National Health Service is Britain's worst ever serial killer. That is not good news and not a badge of honor. Before this, there was Dr. Harold Shipman, who was like an evil serial killer who was a doctor who was secretly killing his patients. That's not good. But he only did 100 people. He only did 100 people. This AIDS, it's just, and how this went on for years and years without anyone knowing. The other story that's been going on, the other story that's just come out, is that in England you can have, kind of like here, a little mom and pop village shop or a corner shop or a newsagent or whatever you call it would often have a post office in it, a bit like how Shoppers Drug Mart has post offices in it. Anyway, over a period of the last 20 years or whatever, there's been discrepancies in lots of post offices that post office masters or shop owners or independent mum and pop shops, and this would generally be kind of older people, who were accused of basically shorting the till, like skimming money. Many went to jail, many were prosecuted, many were made bankrupt, many were put out of business. It has just been revealed that there was a glitch in the system, and these 1,000 people who were prosecuted, sent to jail, made bankrupt, driven to suicide, were all completely innocent. So years and years of people going, no, we definitely didn't skim from the till. We definitely don't owe that money. We definitely didn't rip it off. No one listened. No journalists listened. No police listened. No government official listened. No one at the post office listened. No one listened to them. Everyone said, you're all lying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying. And now it comes to light. Oh, whoops-a-daisy, glitch in the system. Yeah, you were all telling the truth all along. I mean, can you believe these two things, these two awful things? I mean, it's just anyway, the state of the UK, how this stuff happens in a civilized society, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that if it happened in third world countries or other places, we'd all be like, well, what's the deal with over there? And instead, it's happening on that little island with a gazillion people on it. Sorry, but a dark turn that took. You haven't all tuned out. Jay Howitzer, thank you for your question. Would you rather? Yeah, but we're making it light again. Would you rather drink a shot of polar bear urine or moose snot? To answer your question, Jay, and I guess also to go back to lovely Janice McAdams' question, that is my kind of thrill-seeking. Would I rather drink a shot of polar bear urine or moose snot? You know what, Jay? I'll drink them both. I've drunk way worse drinks. Fireball mixed with Screech. Polar bear urine and moose snot, that sounds like a bloody good night out at a camp in Norton. I mean, you can't say fairer than that. That's the kind of thing that you have at the bar during a fire hall wedding in Sussex. Sign me up for both, mate. Bloody good question. Polar bear urine or moose snot. And I might steal both those things as to tag onto my homemade wine joke. Because for many years, the punchline was pear and pubic hair flavour. I might say polar bear urine and moose snot flavour. Funny. Desiree, beautiful Desiree Leanne Short. Desiree, most of you will know Desiree. She is the ingenious captain, driver, legend on my favourite gondola. No, sorry, princess. She is the Peninsula Princess. She also drives the Peninsula Princess, which is the Milledgeville Ferry. Many of you call it. But I was on the ferry on Monday this week, heading over to visit my in-laws on the beautiful day to go and see my in-laws. My mother-in-law's not well. My father-in-law works extremely hard as a saintly driver for the wonderful people, ladies and gentlemen, and days, I guess, maybe, at the Shanex. And we were driving over on the ferry, and my son River and I got out to admire our favourite view, which is the view of the peninsula from the ferry boat. And Desiree saw me and did a big announcement on the loudspeaker that James Manager was there, and she started shouting, and her question is, anyway, who steers the ferry better, you or River or Hunter? Good question. I think I'm allowed to say this. Don't want to get anyone in trouble. She once let me drive the ferry. And I hadn't been drinking, but it looked like I had because it was very, very curly-whirly was the trail behind us, totally safely, of course. She's an absolute saint, and her husband is the Amazing Raven, one of the legendary, absolutely legendary magician, illusionist, performance artist, entertainer, performed everywhere. He's a Vegas legend, and he's wonderful couple. It was lovely to see you. Who steers the ferry better, me, River, Hunter? Probably, I would say River, because River, am I allowed to say this? River was driving a tractor it was on the peninsula, so lawless land. Hey, anything goes. Who are you going to report it to? Yeah, River was driving a tractor on the peninsula this week. Randy Garland has asked, if you weren't a comedian with big eyebrows, what would you be? I guess I would be a wannabe comedian with ridiculous eyebrows. I would also be, I guess my other job is obviously magazines. So in theory, I would be doing that. But yeah, I guess I would. What would I? Well, when I moved here I will tell you my game plan, moving to New Brunswick, was because I thought I had to give up stand up. So what I planned to do was do tour guides on the tour buses. That was something that was the plan. But so I guess that's what I would do. I'd be a tour guide on the buses, on the pink buses around St. John. Lisa Gale, you at one time had a tour in England as a would I ever do a group tour in England with CAA? Yes, it didn't happen, but yes, I would absolutely love to do that. And if anyone here would like to go to England with me and a group, please drop me a line and we'll make it happen. Katie Kelly, lovely Katie Kelly, congratulations on your well-deserved East Coast Music Award. You're an absolute hero, a legend, and an icon, and I appreciate you very much. What's the last thing I bought on Amazon? It was a book that's right here called Mother's Boys by Margaret Forster that my mum recommended to me. As I've mentioned before, I think on this podcast, my mum and I recommend books to each other because we don't see each other as much as we would like. So she recommends books to me and I read the books that she's reading so I can feel close to her. Thank you, Katie. That's a lovely question and congratulations again on your award. Watch Katie Kelly on TV on amazing CTV Atlantic. She is the best. Vicky Hogarth, another one of my favourite TV presenters in the universe. Vicky Hogarth, of course, the heroic TV presenter, host, producer, all-round legend at CHCO. One of the I've told the story before, but I will tell it again. The most amazing success story of local news. Proportionately one of the most watched news stations in the country because every single person in Charlotte County watches this. And I know this because I once did a live stream gig during COVID at the Kingsbury on CHCO and then walked down the street. And it was the first day I ever got to feel what it might be like to be Tom Cruise because every single person watched this live stream and there wasn't a single person that did pass me without saying or doing something or nodding and saying great show. And I'm like, wow, that means that like 90% of people in Charlotte County watch CHCO, and rightly so, because it's hosted by an absolute legend. And what's on my summer 2024 bucket list? Excellent question, Vicky. Coming to St. Andrews, of course. Anyone that knows me will know that that is the case. And I do have a show coming up at the Kingsbury Amphitheatre that I will be talking about later. I'm also very much looking forward to appearing at the Southwestern Business Conference at the Algonquin next month, which by an amazing and bizarre and beautiful twist of fate, both my father in his first visit to New Brunswick in the 10 years we've lived here and my uncle Louis, who lives in North Carolina's very first ever visit to Atlantic Canada. They both happen to be in St. Andrews, so they are attending the Southwestern Business Conference closing dinner that I am performing at the Algonquin Resort, which I will no doubt see you at, Vicky. On my 2024 bucket list is Acadie Lumina, the incredible Acadian night walk experience that you can read all about in the next issue of Edit magazine. Acadie Lumina, AKADILUMINA, world-class tourist attraction that is right here in New Brunswick. I cannot wait for that. But as you know, Vicky, St. Andrews is always part of my summer plans. And I can't wait to come and go to Kingsbury, the greatest restaurant on earth, and equally Drew Haven, the most beautiful. Drew Haven literally is like one of it's up there with like the best of Maine. I mean, when you go to Kennebunkport, there's all these glamorous places, and Drew Haven, what a world class place. God bless you, Vicky, and thanks for everything you do. And say hi to Patrick, and indeed to your beautiful, beautiful dog, who I always love to see when I'm walking down Water Street. Courtney Clark, lovely Courtney Clark, who is the granddaughter of my dear late friend Pat Clark, and I'm looking up at the weirdly, as you call it, I'm looking up right now above my desk. I have Pat Clark's your gorgeous grandmother, my dear friend Pat. I have the program that was handed out at her funeral, at her at the funeral home where we met. And my first impression of you was that you were an absolute joy and a delight. And I believe we hugged and both shed a tear, missing our friend Pat already. And I believe it was also Pat's birthday a couple of days ago. So we were thinking of you, Pat, praying for you. And I know wherever you are, Pat, up above, we love you. But Courtney, my first impression of you was that you were absolutely as wonderful a human being as your late grandmother. And I knew there and then that you and I would be friends, and we have been. And thank you for coming to my show at the Neptune Theatre a few months after that. And thank you for the delicious sandwiches that were at Pat's service. There's my so many abiding memories and so many gorgeous stories, and George speaking and you know, wonderful Lynn Flynn speaking. It was such a moving experience, but an incredibly profoundly fitting celebration of Pat Clark, one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. And if any of you, there's a chapter in my book titled Pat Clark about my friendship with British Pat Clark, who lived right here in New Brunswick, and how we became friends. There is also a follow-up chapter on her in my next book that I am currently writing. Christelle Dion, lovely to hear from you. Why was I so mean to the Ugwug? Excellent question. Christopher and I worked on the phenomenal children's TV show Ugwug, which was made by the brilliant Brian Finley and his incredibly talented family. Why was I so mean to the Ugwug? I was a villainous character. You're absolutely right. I was an absolutely villainous character. And I'm about to play a villainous character in another show that starts filming in 2 weeks for the Trailer Park Boys SwearNet about open mic comedians. So thank you, Krista. It was an honor to work with you on that show. You are a truly wonderful and talented, phenomenal human being. I hope to see you at a show soon. And anyone that hasn't seen Ugwug, go to Bell 5 TV1, look for Ugwug. It's about the sea monster Ugwug. Ariel Finley, who plays the main character in it, who is Brian Finley's spectacularly talented daughter, is brilliant in it. I am just stupid in it, of course. So check that out, Ugwug. Why am I... See, I've been going on for too long. Lovely Donald Falkins, thank you for your message. What do I like most about living in New Brunswick? What do I like least? And if I could have anything, food entertainment from back home, what would it be? I guess it would, of course, be my parents. Food, it would probably be, what do I miss food-wise? But it's snacks. It's things like, well, yeah, it's KP nuts. I'm sorry, Canada, I'm not slagging you off, but you do not make peanuts. I don't know why they're so... Not that they're bad here, I'll step back. But KP nuts, salted and dry roasted, are just the most delicious and incredibly, just the tastiest thing in the world. Best thing I've had in my mouth since easy. Most amazing nuts ever. And it's the one thing. I would do anything to get KP nuts here. Every time friends come over, they bring them, people send them to me, and they always get eaten very quickly. But yeah, my parents, nuts. I guess entertainment, it would be, a lot of the comedy clubs and comedians and stuff that I miss from back home. I wish a lot more British comedians would come through this region. But most of all, I've said it before, British pubs. I miss that. The feeling of walking to a British pub. Michelle, thank you very much. Boxers or briefs? Good, excellent question. It always briefs, or Y fronts as we used to call them. Tanya Walsh, and by the way, Michelle, congrats on all the great shows that you've been doing, and kudos on always tearing up the stage. Michelle Lynn Petit, go and check her out. Performs at every comedy club around New Brunswick and indeed Atlantic Canada as a whole, and she's absolutely hilarious. Tanya Walsh, would hosting SNL be something I would ever consider doing? Well, yes, but I don't think I'll ever be asked, obviously. I would love to do it. I would take the challenge, but I also do like not being like famous, or so yeah. I guess that I like not being successful. Good thing too. So hosting SNL would be a dream. I love the challenge of a thing like that, and I think so many people have done such a great job doing that, where you go on and just to get to do a 10-minute. Nate Bargatze did a great one. I love Bill Burr's, even Shane Gillis's I thought was great. But it's very kind of you, Tanya and Belinda, to say that I would be good on that, because yeah, I will never be asked because I will never be well known enough. But would I jump at the chance if they suddenly decided to put an unknown comedian on there and give someone their big break? Yes, I would absolutely jump at the chance. Sean and Jennifer Mooney, absolute heroes, legends. They have the final question here. They have brought up my Mullinger's matchmaking service that I've been wanting to do to help the ladies, the amazing ladies of New Brunswick, find decent men. They're keen to help, so what they're thinking is to eliminate the dead wood, separate the wheat from the chaff. If these fellas are so eager to share photos of their anatomy, let's see how confident they are sharing a photo of their pay stub. What's more attractive than showing you're capable of contributing to the household? No more dick pics, we want money shots. And by money shots, he literally means money, not obviously what money shot means in porn, which is a dick pic, but also with something departing said member. See, it's actually a bloody good point. It's a very good point. Men, these awful men who are going on dating sites, whether it be Tinder, and again, I mean, I guess on I was going to say it's okay on Grindr. I guess it is, as long as it's solicited. Whether it's male to male or male to female or whatever it is. You shouldn't be sending dick pics to anyone unless it's solicited, because that's still, in my mind, harassment. If a man wants a dick pic, he'll let you know. But I don't think anyone should be sending unsolicited body parts to. But money shots, i.e., pay stubs, I think fair enough. Yeah, if you're gonna, they should be the trade-off. If you're gonna send a picture of your manhood, it's not even member penis to a lady, you should also have to send your pay stub, because let's face it, can you help, support, contribute? Are you going to be not because women are looking for sugar daddies or anything like that? It's because they want someone that's going to contribute financially and buy soap and wash themselves. So it's all part and parcel. Themselves, not their penises. Well, yes, obviously you want them to wash their penis. Here's the question. You spoke a few weeks about rude, unfriendly celebrity encounters. Have you ever had an awkward celebrity encounter? Maybe it's just the situation, or you were starstruck, or they were introvert. Whatever, it just fell flat. Heal those ribs. Thank you very much, Sean. Yes, one of my most awkward ones was, I think I've talked about this before, the interviewing Anne Hathaway, where every joke I did fell flat. It was definitely somewhat awkward. This is quite a funny one. When my wife and I were backstage at Seinfeld's O2 Arena show, I had met, pardon me, so I didn't mean to burp down the podcast, but we can't edit that out because we don't edit it. It's a ramble. It's a burple. Mullinger's weekly burp. Every week I will do a burp or a fart. No, I won't do that. That'd be a terrible podcast. Well, would you do that if someone released a podcast every week that was just a 5-second fart? I mean, it would use up less of your day. Have you listened to that podcast this week? Oh, no, I'm not listening to Joe Rogan's 3 hours of conspiracy theories and bullshit. Bill Burr for an hour, Mullinger rambling 50 minutes. No, it's just a fart. It's just a 5-second fart. Oh, yeah, I'm up to speed on the podcast. Downloads every week. Doesn't take up much room on the phone. Have you subscribed? Yeah, I've subscribed. Yeah. Wednesday morning, it's time for Mullinger's weekly fart. That's it. Done. Bish, bash, bosh. On with your day. That'll be beautiful. So we were backstage at the O2 Arena, and we leave the show, and we had been invited by Jerry and George Shapiro, his manager, to come backstage after the show. We leave the gig. We go into this bar area, and it's called the VIP area, but there's like hundreds of people, and my wife's like, this isn't it, this ain't it, and I'm like, well, no, it might be. And there's some kind of low-ranking British comedians in there. Well, I wouldn't even be considered low-ranking, I'd be lower than that, but this was the situation. And she's like, no, there's first. We go through these doors and we walk up to this room, and we showed our pass, and we got waved into this other room, and in the room there's like 50 people, and there's more people, but And then there's kind of middle of the ground, some comedians that have been on TV a little bit, but not. And Pam's like, I'm like, this is it. And she's like, this ain't it. This ain't this. I don't know why I'm giving her that voice. She's Canadian. She doesn't have that voice. Is that misogynistic, giving a woman a sound like a nagging voice? Anyway, this ain't it. This ain't it. So we go further and we get to this. There's like another door. Wave out past and we go into the room and there's like 12 people in there. And it's Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, and then a handful of other very, 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 very well-known comedians. So we go up to the bar and we pull out our money, and they go, "No, it's free bar. This is the VIP room, Jerry's room." So we're like, "Oh, great!" So we get do the usual double fisting, right? Drinks, that is, not obviously double. Could you do that? I mean, I haven't watched much porn. Anyway, double. So we take our drinks over. Anyway. In a moment of absolute madness, we're at a table with a couple of drinks now, right? So we go over with 2 drinks each, drink one, and then there's 2 more. And on the table, there's only 10 people in this room, whatever it was. The door opens, Jerry and George walk in, right? Gervais makes a beeline for Jerry. George Shapiro sees me and kind of waves and ushers us over. My wife has been a fan of Seinfeld for years. Her father brought her up on it. We bonded over it. She bought me tickets to see him in Memphis. It was, if you've read my book, you'll know it was the moment that I realized that I was going to marry her. All these things. She's been responsible for all of this. She finally has a chance to meet Jerry. We get up and I'm like, oh my God, we're being called over to see Jerry. And in typical British mindset, we're like, well, can't leave the drinks. So I'm like, get the drinks, bloody get the drinks. So she grabs the drinks, comes over, and Jerry's like, oh my God, I loved how we'd just worked on a video project together. I'd basically been directing him for this GQ video, which you can watch on my YouTube channel. And he was like, I love how the video turned out. It's so great, right? This is my wife, Pam. And he goes, great. And Jerry puts out his hand to shake my wife's hand, her dream to shake Jerry's hand. And she can't because she's clutching the free drinks from the free unlimited bar where we could obviously get free drinks all night long. But me, in my stupid mindset, was like, get the drinks off. You can't leave the drinks. Right? We could have got more drinks. There's going to be 3 more free drinks. No one's going to take them. There's 10 people in it. We're in the inner sanctum, the BBVIP area. And so that was, and then basically, Ricky Gervais did not like the interruption. And kind of was pushing us out of the way. And that was quite awkward. So we kind of made our leave. And then interestingly, I actually wrote about this. And Gervais didn't like it. So much so that the king of You Can Say What You Like was so offended by me talking about this or writing about this that he had me banned from my own photo shoot. But that's a story for another day. I'm going to keep this under an hour, so thank you for listening. I've actually got to go and pick up my son from school, and I'm way too late. Thanks for listening to Mullinger's Weekly Ramble. Please do keep sending me questions. My email is comedy@jamesmullinger.com. Come and see me, Miramachi, this Saturday night. I will see you all soon. Thank you. God bless, and lots of love. Bye.
Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.